Mr. Mauricio Fiallos, who has been helping today with the arrangements. He's currently working as a regional manager and software advisor for Semtech LLC. He has many years of work experience in reservoir engineering, project management, and he participated in several field characterization projects from United States, China, Ecuador, Argentina, Peru, Turkmenistan, and Brazil. Mauricio, please proceed.
Thank you, Dr. Sepernuri. I'm honored to present the final remarks of the CCUS workshop. Today I will address quickly about the panorama for CCUS, the highlights of all the presentations during this workshop, and maybe what are the next steps for CCUS. So the current panorama is that the carbon capture, utilization, and storage has a stronger position to contribute to post-pandemic economic recoveries. Why? Because it will allow to achieve net zero goals. Also because as everybody and most of the countries around the world are trying to find a sustainable transition for cleaner energy systems. It's known that US, Canada, Europe, some countries in Europe have set a goal to decarbonize their economies by 2050. Also, CCS has been included in the 5-year plan for China's policies. So that's a good opportunity for future applications. Also, it's important that now technologies associated with CO2 use and carbon removal are attracting interest from policymakers and investors. And this is translated into imminent rapid scaling up of investments, wider deployments, and accelerated innovations. Of course, in our side, EOR plays as a major driver for CCUS. Here I just wanted to emphasize how CCUS is vital to achieve net zero goals. CCUS represents substantial emissions counterbalance for continued forecast demands for petroleum and other liquid fuels. As you can see on this screen, I'll go with the laser. You can see that the forecast for the global energy consumption will keep petroleum and other liquid fuels as the main resource for energy around the world. There is a comparison that from now in 2020 or last year to 2050, the petroleum and liquid fuels will keep the same percentage of consumption, about 35% with regards to other energy sources. All of this information has been taken from the US Energy Information Administration. And that's why also like recently, like 1 or 2 weeks ago, Department of Energy has invested already $45 million to decarbonize the natural gas power and industrial sectors using carbon capture and storage. Now I would like to point out the highlights of the presentations, and we start the presentations with Dr. Ian Duncan and Dr. Larry Lake, who addressed the idea that a great deal of the experience in operating large-scale injection projects during past decades can be translated into great expertise for geological and engineering aspects, and that can be very practical for CCUS. As an example, Dr. Lake mentioned that CO2 EOR knowledge and technology transition can be smooth to conventional CCS, where injection and production rates are normally the same. Also, they mentioned about the risk that we need to expect substantial variability among the wells, and that can be translated that we need to manage expectations. Individual projects might require the individual evaluation and research for that. Dr. Deshat then presented a successful case in Crown Field for securing long-term storage for CO2 in the subsurface. The main point is that she addressed that modeling geological carbon storage will require coupling thermal, compositional flow, geochemistry, geomechanics, and structural reservoir characterization. Also, Dr. Fernandez just showed us how, in the Highland case, he presented a regional model for the estimation of the storage capacity of that region. He was able to model leaky faults that were evaluated for CO2 migration and modeled successfully thanks to EDFM technology. Also, Dr. Akibu mentioned about the Utah's Little Ground Wash Fault, where he stated that sealing efficiency of CO2 reservoirs has to exceed 99% for long-term systems. He also addressed the fracture growth behavior across sealing cap rocks through different rock mechanic tests. So what is next? We really are expecting taking advantage of the great momentum of CCUS, and what we could expect in the forthcoming years is to secure long-term high-value storage assets of CO2, and that means supporting the identification, research, and evaluation of the geological storage resources. Also, we should improve the use of the latest technologies to mitigate risks and uncertainties. This is translated to guaranteeing access to capital grants and financing for lower cost CCUS investments. Of course, it's important to adapt domestic specific CCUS laws and regulations and take advantage, as I said, of the CCUS momentum at this point for stronger policies that incentivize field-scale CCUS research and applications. With that, I would like to thank everyone for attending this successful workshop. There we have attendees from different parts of the world. Some of them, as you can see, these are some of the people who were involved in the conferences as our audience in terms of companies and universities. We really thank their participation today, and we can say that there were some times in the day that we have around 300 attendees. Finally, I would like to acknowledge all the panelists, Mosde, Ian, Peter, Larry, Reza, Bruno, and last but not least, Cami, for their time and sharing their expertise with all of us. We would like also to thank the University of Texas at Austin and Syntec for organizing this event. We want to thank you very much for taking the time to attend in this session. Here is the contact information in case you have further questions. We try to answer most of the questions posted in the Q&A box. However, we still have, I think, 8 more questions to answer, which will be addressed and sent you back by email. I don't know if Dr. Sepernuri has some final words on that.
Yes, Mauricio, I want to thank all the presenters for their very interesting and excellent talks. I would like to thank the audience for participating in this meeting and asking very interesting questions. I'm sorry we were not able to answer all the questions that they were posted due to the time. And also I would like to thank Semtech for co-sponsoring this meeting. And hopefully we will be able to, in the future, to have other workshops that we will be hopefully announcing. And thanks again, everyone. And I'm really surprised having a meeting and finishing slightly early, not late. We are 5 minutes till 12. And coming from a university, I'm really surprised that we were able to manage that. Thank you very much, everybody.